sad to save his life. 40 years in Israel.
A Trump-Zelensky war of words. A dictator without elections. The question many travelers are asking, is it safe to fly? Good morning, I'm Peter King with the CBS World News Roundup. A convoy carrying the bodies of 4 Israelis who died in captivity has arrived in Tel Aviv after the remains were released by Hamas. CBS's Deborah Pazza is in East Jerusalem.
Under a grim Gaza sky, 4 coffins on display. Hamas says they are the bodies of Oded Lifshitz and the Bibas family, Shiri, and her 2 young boys, Ariel and Kafir. They were abducted on October 7th. Hamas claims they were killed in an Israeli air raid in November 2023. Israel has not officially confirmed their deaths and says it may take as long as 48 hours to identify them.
Ukraine is no longer just fighting Russia. President Vladimir Zelensky is fighting a very public war of words with President Trump. He doubled down on his attacks on Zelensky. Here's CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job.
Speaking Wednesday night at a Saudi investor conference in Florida, President Trump sharply criticized Ukraine's leader, blaming Volodymyr Zelensky for starting the war with Russia.
President Zelensky talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that basically couldn't be won.
The U.S. has spent just $183 billion so far. And the president's decision to call Zelensky a dictator came just hours before he referred to himself as the king. Democrats are furious.
Make no mistake, right now the Kremlin is overjoyed by what Donald Trump is saying and what he's doing.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered $50 billion in cuts for the next year, 8% per year over the next 5 years. The money can be redirected to Trump administration priorities such as border control and an Iron Dome defense system. CBS's Erica Brown says the IRS is cutting back too.
CBS News has learned that more than 6,000 IRS workers are expected to be terminated by the end of the week. About 3,500 of them are expected to be probationary hires who, quote, were not deemed as critical to tax filing season.
President Trump says congestion pricing for drivers in New York City is going away. These drivers are thrilled.
So coming into the city was more annoying.
It kind of seemed like a haphazard stopgap.
Congestion pricing is done, yes.
But New York Governor Kathy Hochul says Trump has overstepped his bounds.
I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign identity, our independence from Washington.
Hochul says, see you in court. The NBA is suing to keep the feds out of it. The judge is taking some time to decide whether or not the Justice Department will be allowed to drop corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. CBS's Scott McFarland was at the hearing.
They argued this in synchronicity with each other, that this case is distracting the mayor from doing the job of mayor. The judge heard all this and recognized I got 2 different people at the defense table and prosecutor's table arguing the same thing. There's nobody in this room representing the alleged victims of crime, the taxpayers of the United States and New York. So he wants some time to look through this, to consider this unprecedented request.
Much of the country is waking up to freezing or sub-freezing temperatures and, in many cases, snow. One storm dropped 10 inches on Virginia Beach, the most it's gotten since 2010. CBS's Dave Malkoff is there.
The snow packed a punch in Virginia and snarling traffic leading to over 400 crashes, according to state police. In North Carolina, officials begged people to stay off the roads.
This will allow our crews to do their work.
In both states, dozens of schools are closed or going remote today to keep students safe. Across the central U.S., millions are suffering from record-breaking cold. In San Antonio, nonprofit groups were handing out warm clothes and food for people without shelter.
That's scary, especially, older people or people that don't have money to come and make sure they're warm.
It's 4 past the hour.
Well, that's today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cab News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. It's 47 degrees in Richmond, California.